There's my slap for synchronisation. Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, out on another walk, and today, well, I'm not quite sure where I am, but I am going to be helped by the very lovely Marc Petty. Hello, Marc.
Hello, Richard. Lovely to be here, and hello, Vobes people. Wonderful to see you.
I know we're in Shropshire, we're in
Yes.
North Shropshire, and we're coming to a very special place. Now, you told me on the phone we're going to go and have a look at the bog.
Yes, we're going to, as you said, a bog.
A bog.
With a question mark at the
So
end.
tell me, what sort of bog are we
We are
looking at?
going to see, Richard, the third largest lowland raised bog.
A
Britain.
lowland raised bog.
Bog.
We're going to find out what that is.
We are. Along the way, we will find out, people.
Now, we're standing by a strange mechanism
Yes.
behind us. We're actually by a canal. What canal is this?
We are standing behind Morris Bridge, which is a lift bridge.
Right.
There's a little gizmo over there on that white drum.
Oh, yeah.
If you've got the correct apparatus, you can wind it up and take your canal boat through.
Your narrow boat.
A narrow boat, indeed.
Yeah, they
Thank
don't like it if you
No.
get it wrong.
Well, I mean, as which a lot of people do, because I think I saw a figure that said 6,000 people a year go up and down this.
Do they?
It's a very busy stretch.
That is a
Yes,
lot.
so this is the Shropshire Union Canal
Yes.
on its way that way to Llangollen, and some people call it the Llangollen Canal, which is okay too. And note, I think my pronunciation of Llangollen is the correct one, possibly.
And the
Put
other
your
way?
comments in below.
The other way?
The other way, we are going back up towards Cheshire. That goes up towards Whitchurch, then
Right.
joins the main line of the Shropshire Union Canal.
To get to the bogs, to see the stuff that
Yes.
we're very keen, where do we go?
We are going to go this way, up the canal, to
Right.
a place called the Marl Allotment.
The Marl...
The Marl, that's my Shropshire accent
All
letting
right.
me down again there, Richard.
No,
as usual.
so see, that's nice and
For all
slow.
my southern friends, that's the Marl Allotment.
Marl Allotment.
Allotment.
Let's go.
Thank you.
After you. Come off the canal now, Marc.
Yes, we have, Richard.
So where are we then?
We are on the Marl Allotment.
Well, and now I'm thinking of an allotment where people grow vegetables and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Is that right?
Well, you sort of be right. I mean, it's a 6-acre site on the edge of the moss.
Right.
And
Shall
this
we
is
shall
the
we
place.
stroll along?
Yes, why not? This is the place. This is the only area of common land in the area, so this is the place where people would have come and got their kind of spare wood. As you can see, we've got kind of lots of willow and alder and trees that are associated with wetland areas, and indeed I'm sure you can
Feel underfoot.
yeah, it's very boggy, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So it's a wonderful site, and indeed this was actually used to dig out marl clay, which was
okay.
used to kind of improve the land for agriculture around the edge of the moss.
What does marl clay do then?
Yeah, it just sort of makes the land more fertile for
Oh, okay.
for growing things in, basically,
Right,
and for growing
right.
grass, so you can feed cattle, which would have been the main thing, I suppose. And it's just turned into a beautiful kind of bit of car woodland, which is kind of a sort of successional stage between bog and sort of, actual forest. And so to have a place where you can still see those sites regularly. I mean, we've just been chatting to a farmer who said that he doesn't even notice the noise anymore from curlews and cuckoos, which I find astounding, because I go around North Shropshire a lot and I don't hear these birds very much at all anymore.
No, and of course if you live in a town and a place like that, you're never going to hear them,
and
are
of
you?
course, we've just seen a orange-tipped butterfly fly past.
Have we?
Yeah, we have. So we've got lots of insects, lots of bird life. This is just a really special little place.
And it's a haven because it's such a large area and it's wet.
The moss as a whole is, very
Yeah.
much so. But I mean, this is kind of
Well, I mean, I suppose what I
very-
mean is it's not, there's no built up, there's no
no.
people and industry
Very few.
and domestic
few.
dwellings and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, it's.
Where do we go from here?
We are going to go on to there.
Wow. Well, here we are. Do come this way a bit so we can see you, Marc. We're now on the bog, so I don't really know what I was expecting. I'm slightly confused here. Let's just keep walking, because I
Yes.
know this area is absolutely vast.
It is big. It's a The central bog itself is 1,000 hectares. So if you think of 1 hectare as a rugby pitch,
Oh, right.
1,000 rugby pitches.
My God. So
Yeah.
no wonder they say you can see it from space.
Well, absolutely.
So now, of course, I was expecting, now this may be complete ignorance from me,
Yeah.
but I was expecting a vast flatland of black.
Yeah.
A bit like what we're walking on. If I turn the camera down here, I imagined that, but with a sheen of water
Yeah.
across the top.
Yeah.
So why don't I see that?
Well, that's because we've got a mixture of vegetation on top. Some of it kind of just ordinary scrub and grassland, but where the bog is, we've really got peat-forming vegetation like sphagnum moss, and as we just saw the sedge,
Oh, I see.
cotton sedge.
And so the peat that's formed in the bog is semi-decomposed vegetation.
Yes, absolutely.
Which has taken many eons to
Yes.
get to that point.
Well, if you think peat forms at the rate of about 1 millimetre a year, so you've literally got thousands. If it's in a pristine bog, you're talking thousands of, years worth, up to 10,000 years worth of peat.
Yes, and so the vegetation that we see is what will eventually decompose and fall into these sort of beds.
Yeah, well, if we've got the correct peat forming vegetation, that's exactly what will happen. Yeah.
So when I'm watching the old Pathe News that shows people in the 1930s digging up the peat to put onto their hearth and keep their houses warm on these sort of fen-like places, I'm seeing these great shovelfuls of black slabs, a bit like turf is sold to you, but without the grass.
Yeah.
So that's being formed underneath the vegetation that we see, is that right?
That is basically a peat bog without the vegetation on top of it, so it's not forming peat anymore, but it's just being exploited, and that is exactly what happened here.
So Mark.
Yes, Richard. As the wind gets up.
I know the weather has changed. At 1 minute I had my jacket on, I've taken it off now.
Yeah, 4 seasons in one day here.
Yeah, it's amazing. Mine the mud there, the peat.
That's the peat itself.
That is the peat down there. Yeah,
there is some peat.
So the question I want to know now is, we looked briefly at the historical aspect and the fact that people used to use it for heating their houses and stuff.
Yeah.
This area you were telling me is owned by the government now. They bought it.
It's a national nature reserve now.
Right. So what is it? Oh, so I was going to say, what is it used for now? Do people dig out the peat anymore?
No. Well, I mean, actually, it's funny you should say that, because I think up until a few years ago, the locals still had rights to maintain kind of very small-scale diggings.
Does that go back to, we mentioned that the allotment part, which of course when people say allotments you're thinking of people growing cabbages in little patches, but that's a historic type of allotment, as in a bit like common land.
Yeah, well it's exactly what it was. It was a 6-acre piece of common land where people could just kind of get their scrub for their bits of wood and things like that, but you would have seen that on peatlands and wetlands all over the country in kind of the 17th and 18th century before they were enclosed. So yeah.
Oh, well, that's so now. Of course, if it's a nature reserve, what nature are we looking at? Obviously, birds.
We're looking at a tremendous amount of nature. I mean, I think there's something like over 2,000 species of insects have been recorded here. Several hundred bird species, plants galore. It's an absolute wildlife oasis. I mean, that's really what's so special about this whole Mears and Mosses area, which extends over a massive area, all the way from, say, Knutsford in Cheshire all the way across the south to central Staffordshire and Shrewsbury.
Gosh, that's amazing.
South.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and even into well, actually, we are literally coming up towards the Welsh border now, Richard.
Oh yes, so that's interesting. The English and Welsh border cross.
It
the
really
mosses.
does, yes, because we're kind of on the edge of Whixall moss here. But if we look over across here, this is Fenn's moss.
Right, so it's been delineated into different mosses.
Yeah, and you tend to find this is what happens with a lot of mosses. Yeah.
Is that similar to woodland in that you get somebody owns a bit of copse here and somebody owns another bit of copse over there, and
I think so. It's kind of the pattern of the way it was enclosed and sort of partially drained, because obviously we're not looking at. I think it's important to say we're not looking at a pristine landscape. We're looking at one that was, until 1990, really heavily commercially used for peat.
Right.
But by that stage, it wasn't peat for fuel. It was peat as a growing agent in your plants. So, Vobes people out there, if you're growing plants, please try to use a peat-free alternative.
A peat-free.
You are destroying
this natural
you're being
habitat.
part of destroying really exceptionally precious habitat.
Yes. Clearly there's a lot to learn about this. I mean, there's birds. We saw a bird watcher down there looking at birds, so this must be a field day for them.
It's an interesting place because you can come here some days and you'll see absolutely nothing. You think, oh, what's this? But, you know, like today, we've just seen 3 hobbies circling looking for dragonflies, which is such a fantastic sight. And we've heard curlew as well. So, you know, you hear and see things that you wouldn't see in a lot of places anymore. And that's what, for me, what makes it so special.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for taking me onto the bog. I suppose, is it bog a derisory term?
Well, I mean, it's interesting you mention it because wasteland, bog, it has a sort of pejorative feel to it. But no, it's an expression of exactly what this is. It's a big spongy wet bog, as David Bellamy might have said once.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for taking me onto the bog and the mosses and for explaining all about it. And if you get the chance to come up here and have a look, if you've never been, it's certainly well worth looking. Bring your binoculars like Mark has, and you're going to be in for a treat. And thank you so much. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe and see where I turn up next. Become a patron, support what I do. But from Whixall, now go on, get it right.
Fenn's, Whixall and Bettisfiled Mosses Natural Nature Reserve. But don't forget Cadney and Wemboss, which are also very nearby.
From all of that lot, till the next time, bye for now.
Bye, people.
Bye.